Come on, Livingston, we're gonna go on and on and on. Together we can make it. We're gonna go on and on and on. Come on, Livingston.
Knocks it through. Mullen bursting into the box. Josh Mullen.
Together we can make it.
Mullen's ball across. It's turned in. It's Pittman who's got it. Livingston leads.
Can they get the ball back in? O'Brien. Lead! And Livingston have the lead! Man, score.
If we march to
The full-time whistle blows and David Hayes celebrates. And the Livingston fans join in exultation.
come on, Livingston.
Livingston have the lead against Rangers, and they are certainly rising to a few occasions on their return to the top flight in Scotland.
Come on, Livingston. We're gonna go.
Hello and welcome back to TalkLivi for episode 25 of the season. We're back as usual for more Livi related content, including post-match interviews plus loads of reaction, previews and reviews after a busy week for the club. My name's Andy and I'm joined by Ewan and Callum. Coming up this week, we look back at the disappointing night in Dingwall as we fell to defeat in the Highlands.
We'll then hear the thoughts of the gaffer following the Scottish Cup fifth round tie with Inverness.
We then review that game with Cali Thistle as another Scottish Cup run comes to a disappointing end.
It was the first ever league game for Livingston Women's team. We went along to support the ladies and we give our thoughts on the game.
We've got two more games to preview this week. First up, it's a massive game at the Tony Macaroni Arena as we take on St Mirren.
And finally, it's a trip to Ibrox as we face Slippy G's Rangers.
Lots to get through this week, so we'll start with the short journey up to Dingwall on Wednesday night. To the 79 Livi fans who travelled up, was it worth it? A pretty poor performance and result, lads, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, I'd probably say, our worst performance of the season. Well, was until yesterday, but we'll move on to that. Conceding the early goal doesn't help. Sloppy goal. Thought Taylor Sinclair was caught under the ball for it.
Didn't start well at all.
Nah, we didn't start well. Conceded a goal in the first couple of minutes, and Ross County have been a bad run of results, but
Just gave them a boost, didn't it?
gives them a boost early doors. And then I think, to be fair to Ross County as well, I think tactically they got us spot on. I think they've learned from the first two games. They put in a lot of kind of big guys. Instead of playing with kind of the likes of Josh Mullen and trying to play through the thirds, they decided, let's just go back to front, get in a shape. I think they isolated Dykes quite well. They had Ross Draper just kind of sitting one side and then Donaldson the other side of Dykes. So basically any time something that might break off with Dykes for our three in behind to get onto, it was just breaking into Draper all the time.
Yeah.
I thought they were quite clever with that.
They played a 4 in the other two games. Obviously, we put 8 past them over the last two games, and then they've played a 5 on Wednesday, which is gonna
You have got to credit them, but in a way it's also frustrating that we've then played it. I mean, it was fairly obvious what they were looking to do.
Yeah.
By putting all the big guys in. We've got ballers in our team, and I felt we went long far too much. We should have looked at that team that they put out and went, okay,
Let's try
our
and
big
move them
guys,
out a bit more.
let's get the ball moving quickly, because we're good at that, and we've done it against Motherwell, but we never done it. We just booted it long,
we saw
played
that
right into their
against
hands.
Leith. If they're proper sitting and camped them into their own
I wouldn't
half.
say they sat in.
No, I wouldn't say. I think they were pretty rigid in their shape and whatnot. I wouldn't say they sat in the way Wraith Rovers did. Wraith Rovers really sat in. But they weren't overly forthcoming, I would say, in coming out to try and take the game to us.
No, they sat in a shape and let us have the ball really,
Aye.
and then hit us on the break, which is absolutely fine. But I just felt we were a bit slow, a bit lethargic on the ball. Were we tired? We never made a sub against Motherwell. We started with the same
point.
team. Were we tired?
It's difficult to drop any players from that Motherwell performance, isn't it? So to me it made total sense to go with the same 11. But you've then got 3 games in a week. But 3 games in a week, it's not that bad.
No, well Gary's quite often saying that
it's overhyped, this 3 games in a week type thing.
Exactly.
But no, I think you go from the high of that Motherwell performance where, as you say, we got the ball down and we were knocking it, through the thirds, whilst, as you say, we went really direct and we played into Ross County's hands. But as I say, tactically they got us spot on. The other thing, they pressed us really well in certain areas. I thought they kind of targeted Sybil a bit.
Yep.
To try and... I don't remember them pressing Bartley quite the same as they did when Sybil got the ball. So obviously they kind of thought he's the one that keeps things ticking over, and that kind of two sitting players. So we need to get onto him quickly because he just recycles the ball. And I thought Sybil had probably his poorest game for some time as well. But we didn't deserve anything from the game.
We didn't really. It's kind of the annoying thing is, and again you said we'll go on to the Inverness game in a wee bit, but in the last 2 games we've barely laid a glove on the opposition. And I suppose it's a compliment in a way that teams are then changing their style to suit how we play. It's a compliment in a way, but we need to find a way around that, and we've not done it in the last 2 games now. We've kind of just played the same. In fact, I was going to say we've played the same way, but we've not, because there's a stark difference in how we played against Motherwell to how we've played in the previous 2 games. Against Motherwell we were slick, getting the ball in between the lines, good on the ball, putting good balls into the box, creating chances. We've done none of that in the last 2 games, which is unusual. Folk always, and I hate bringing up the pitch debate thing, and I'm no going down that route, but folk always say that the people that are against the plastic pitches say it's slow to play on, this, that and the next thing. Well, to me we've played slower football on grass pitches than what we have on the plastic pitch. Doesn't make sense.
We're obviously... Well, we're so used to playing on it, aren't we? We train on it every day.
Unfortunately, couldn't make it up obviously on Wednesday, but the pair of you were saying Dolly Mendy came on and did really well. You're full of praise for him.
To be fair, I've not been sort of hiding away from the fact that I'm not his biggest fan. I can see that he does his job, but he did. He came on, and I thought he was, for the 20 minutes he was on,
he was the best player.
He was our best player on the night. It says a lot.
He was, getting the ball wide. He was squaring up his man, taking him on, and then getting a cross in. But we hadn't been doing that. That's what Dolly's good at. Very basic things like that. And out wide, he looks a totally different player to last season when we played him as a 9. And his role last year was to do what Dykes does. Now, Dolly doesn't link the game the way Dykes does. But no, Dolly did do well when he came on. Going on to kind of the second goal, personally, I thought Brown was far too deep. You thought it was offside, but I think Brown's played him on.
I haven't seen a better angle. The only angle I've seen is from the YouTube, but it looks offside. It looks really far.
I'm with you, and when I seen the still image and that, to me it looks like one of them where if you're the attacking side, you'd want that to be a goal and play on, because I would
need to see a better angle.
But also didn't McCrory
kind of
covered
sold
himself
it a wee
in glory. As you say, I think he sold it a little bit, going to ground quite so quickly, and he basically made the decision for Mackay to go round him.
He was fortunate for they nearly had a third.
He kind of was waiting on the cross, wasn't he? The boy nipped in front of him. It's one of them, because the thing is, McCrory had such a great debut, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And then he's obviously had that error in the previous game to that, and then obviously he's gone up, no covered his selling glory against Ross County.
True, but I mean,
he's a young keeper playing at this level for the first time.
I wouldn't totally attribute that goal down to him, to be honest. I think Mackay, even if he stays on his feet, Mackay's a good finisher. He probably knocks it by him anyway.
But
we didn't create much at all.
We created nothing until
Brown had a header that flashed past the post out half.
That was the only one that got me kind of off my feet, was the one just after half time. The Brown flicked header. Apart from that,
the Dykes one in the first half was a decent move actually.
Yeah, but
we managed to move the ball quite well in the 18-yard box, but then Dykes, the one he puts into the side netting, he should go across, really.
It's just really frustrating. Obviously, I mentioned before, we've put 8 past them in 2 games, scored 4 in both of them, and we've not even looked.
But as I say, you need to credit the opposition sometimes, and they've learnt from those 2 games. It was quite clear that they'd learnt from those 2 games against us. I think we caught them off guard especially the first game, because we hadn't played them before, and they hadn't obviously played us, so they didn't really know what to expect. You know, everyone else in the top flight talks about long throws, dead balls for us, right? They didn't seem prepared for that at all, whilst on Wednesday night I think they absolutely geared themselves up for that.
And again, that goes back to us having to adapt now.
Yeah.
We're now seen as a good Premiership team.
Yeah.
Teams are adapting to us, so we need to then adapt further.
Yeah.
To kind of find out a play to open them up, because teams are now going to look at the last 2 games and go, well, actually, that worked for them. Let's do that as well.
Slightly frustrating as well that sort of some results went in our favour. You know, Aberdeen got beat, Motherwell got beat, but also the teams below us have also gained as well. The likes of Kilmarnock and St Johnstone.
Yeah, it's no great. It's been a pretty rubbish week, if we're honest. But we'll kind of talk about that.
We'll talk about the next stage of the rubbish week.
Yeah.
At least we didn't travel far though.
This is true. Well, you didn't, because you weren't at the game.
Well, I was at Inverness, mate.
Yeah, but you weren't at Dingwall.
Yeah, couldn't make it.
Part-timer.
Couldn't make it.
You?
Part-timer. After the disappointment at Wednesday night, we hope for a bit of a reaction at the weekend, as again we faced a long journey north to face Inverness in the Scottish Cup. Another bitterly disappointing away day. Here's the thoughts of Gary Holt.
Look, I don't think the conditions made it a game of football for either team. We talked at half time about not making mistakes. Don't make it a mistake that costs you, and it's a mistake that's cost us. Simple as that. And if my lads think that that's past marks to go and win games or stay in the team, then it's not. Things they need to have a look at themselves, and we didn't do enough in the game to win the game. Did we do enough to lose the game? I'm not so sure, but at the end of the day, a simple mistake cost us, and that's the hard thing, because you're out the cup in a day when you probably say you take a 0-0 and you move on. No, well, we also played Saturday, Wednesday, so you're obviously, the boys have been training well and playing well as well, so they deserve a chance, but you've got to take that chance, and if you put performances in like that, then it makes it simple for the coaching staff and myself to pick a team. So you get an opportunity to play. I don't think enough done it today. I don't think it was enough. We took those, and don't get me wrong, it was brutal. The conditions were terrible. I don't think there was 2 passes in the whole game by either side because of the conditions, but it doesn't take away from the fact that we've thrown away a great opportunity to still win the cup by individual error.
As you can hear, the gaffer sounded a bit deflated after this one. I think that goes for everyone that travelled up as well. How did we see that game, guys?
Don't blame him, to be fair. It's another one of these. We just didn't look like scoring at all throughout the whole 90 minutes. It's a game of no real quality at all, I'm sure.
It was to put it bluntly, a pretty rubbish game of football.
They've really had one shot from the free kick. It's poorly given away by Lawson.
He needs to deal with it a lot better than the initial clearance, and then he's kind of put himself in a position where he needs to make that challenge, and obviously he's mistimed it. But
it's one of them that defender makes a mistake and he's eager to make up for it. Dives in, gives away the foul. And to be honest, it was one of the days where you just need to get a shot on target and see what happens. The conditions had a lot to do with the game itself. It was a pretty horrendous day. Wind, rain, howling.
I said that
didn't make it easy. The ball was bobbling all over the place on the lush grass pitch.
I said at half time I would have taken a replay.
It was one of the games.
To be honest, that's the only way I saw it going, was to a replay, because I don't think
nobody really
the gaffer made comments I heard on Sports Scene watching the highlights, and he was like, I don't think we done enough to win the game, but I don't think we did enough to lose the game either. Which, and I think John Robertson was kind of along the same lines as well. So both managers were of the opinion that really it should have been going into a replay, but one moment of kind of any form of quality was the free kick, and that's what won it.
See the thing is though, watching the game, I always felt that they were more likely than us. They were getting the ball up quick, whereas we weren't. We were trying to lump the ball wide. Wasn't working, the wind was catching it, taking it out of play. Anytime we got a dead ball, we were either over hitting it or under hitting it. try to play short. I understand why we were trying to play short corners because of the conditions, but we were just again too slow. We were passing the ball out. It was taking 2 or 3 touches to
we
get
had
them out
to
of
adapt yesterday and try and get the pitch. Wasn't fantastic, but try and get the ball on the ground when you've got conditions like that. It's not going to play as big a part if you've got the ball on the ground. But because we do go direct fairly often, we didn't adapt to the conditions.
I thought they broke the play up really well. I don't like saying it. I don't like praising that type of style. But they did break the play up.
Did
pretty
we
well.
play a different style though? I just felt like we were pushing our wing backs, our full backs further forward, and we were getting constantly caught out, especially the first half. We were constantly getting caught out down the wide areas because our Lawson and Lammy were getting caught far too far up the park. We were basically leaving 2 at the back when we had the ball.
Well, I think a lot of that's down to maybe being the favourites and expecting to take the game to the team.
To be fair,
I think that's had an impact.
It's a comment we made at the game on Wednesday night though, was that our full-backs weren't getting forward enough. So maybe that's something that the management have said. We need you guys getting round the sides a bit more, and maybe we've kind of overcompensated and done it a bit too often. But
do you think we've gone into it thinking we should be winning this, and we should be? I thought we'd play a lot better than we did, and I thought they'd be a lot worse than they were.
It's hard not to think that after sort of the run we've been on in the last 2 performances, if we maybe been overly hyped up in the press, because all of a sudden we were seen as this top 6 team going for Europe. You
didn't help by getting odds for fans bet and putting them on the podcast. You're partly one of that.
Lots of articles on BBC Sport about how amazing we are. Is it maybe just been we start believing our hype? And I know I didn't say that lightly because we didn't seem like the group that would think that.
I just do think it's too off days, to be honest.
Yeah.
Again, we've got to credit the opposition, because I don't like when we beat teams. Say we beat Celtic, and when we beat Rangers, you've got the media saying that Celtic and Rangers have had an off day. That's true to an extent, because we don't beat Celtic and Rangers if they play out their skin. But I think you've got to attribute those 2 performances down to it's literally just an off day for us.
Yeah, I think that the biggest disappointment for the 2 games is we mustered up about 3 shots between the 2 games.
We didn't get going at all.
We've actually only faced 3 shots on target in those games.
Yeah, I noticed there was a big thing about on social media about Schofield having 2 shots in him and both went in, but I think that's very harsh.
Yeah, one of them's an overhead kick for a start.
The other one is I watched the goal and it's a decent strike. I know it's at his side. And
that's where my question mark would be, is that it's keeper's side. He's responsible for that side, but I think he's maybe seen it a bit late because Lawson's
stuck a leg out,
stuck a leg out as well. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but again, if I'm a goalkeeper, I would take responsibility at that side of my goal.
Suda came into the team, first game since the Hamilton incident.
Well, yeah, it was 4 or 5 changes, wasn't it?
Tell you what, I don't think he done anything to back up his wee tantrum at Hamilton, because he was anonymous, to be honest.
You could say that about a lot. I thought Pitts was never in the game.
I thought Steve was off it.
Nobody was really played well, to be honest.
To be fair, I thought our centre backs I know we got beat 1-0 and it sounds daft, but I think they coped fairly well with the conditions. They headed everything away. They cleared most of the attacks when they were under pressure. When we were leaving 2 at the back, they dealt with the breaks quite well.
That was Jordan White, who I thought would cause us problems.
Again, I echo the Ross County game. I think one of the players that comes out with a bit of credit from it is Menga again. When he came on, I think again he was trying to take the game by the scruff of the neck and try and make something happen, which we hadn't been doing for the full game. And that sort of game needs that. Yeah. You need someone to just take the game by the scruff of the neck and try and make stuff happen.
Just a bit unpredictable, which is what we get with Dolly.
Yeah.
Is it one of these maybe we've got an eye on Wednesday as well?
Well, Wednesday is a massive game now, especially after these 2 performances. And see, the thing is, and I mentioned it earlier about the pitch, our fans and the club always go on about sticking up for the pitch, and people saying,
I mentioned this during the week.
But it's hard for us now to stick up for it when a record away on grass is so different to a home form.
Yeah.
It's so difficult now to stick up for it.
I always talk about how Kelly had an awful home record before Steve Clark went in, right? And then all of a sudden they had a fantastic home record under Clark, and everyone comments about, oh, it's the pitch, right? You don't hear the same comments in the media about Kilmarnock and Hamilton this season in comparison to us with the advantage at home, despite the fact they have the exact same surface as us. The reason being is because their home and away form, there's not a drastic difference, whilst with us there is such a drastic difference. Which is why folk constantly talk about the advantage of the pitch.
I was just going to say 5 conceded at home, something like 26 away.
Well, we haven't kept a clean sheet away.
Yeah, like you say, there's a massive difference between.
But that's why the comments get made, because there is such a stark difference between the two.
Yeah, just a quick mention for the crowd. Good support we had up yesterday.
Good vocal support.
400, would you say?
Yeah, highlight of the day, Johnny Foxes. That was a good laugh.
Brilliant.
Then the football was awful, but
to be fair, it was good to see so many up, and it was just really, as you said earlier, bitterly disappointing that
everyone bunched together and stuff as well.
You mentioned that we never really showed up, and we never put in the performance that the fans were desperate for and showed up for, and were.
Couple of very good new songs as well.
The draw now as well, so it would have been Hibs if we'd managed to,
which is a winnable tie.
Which is another winnable tie, especially the way they're struggling just now. So yeah, it's no been great this week.
Disappointing, but hopefully we can turn that around on Wednesday night.
For the first time in Livingston Football Club history, we now have a women's team. Of course, just started this season. It was our first ever league match at the weekend, as we lined up against Edinburgh City at the Tony Macaroni Arena, and it was fair to say it was a fairly good first outing for the team.
Yeah, pretty comprehensive, and fair play to both sets of players, by the way, because the conditions were absolutely horrendous.
It was horrendous just sitting in the stand. The wind and the rain.
Never mind being in shorts and t-shirt, running about in that. So
12-0 victory.
Yeah, no, it was really
crackers as well. Cracking goals.
Really comprehensive win, and they thoroughly deserved it. Edinburgh City were a bit unfortunate. They didn't have any subs. And they were down to one of the players got injured very early on. So
I felt a bit for them actually, because it was literally 5 minutes into the game, no subs, down to 10 men against a team that's just made some cracking signings for the league above.
Yeah.
We're a team that will be looking to win promotion. It was always going to be a long day for Edinburgh City.
Nah,
you
could tell. I mean, it was 3-0 at half time, but obviously it told in the second half.
I think the wind was probably behind us in the second half as well,
which made it even worse when you're a player down as well. So
fatigue as well probably comes into it.
But the girls played some really good football. As you say, they scored a couple of cracking goals. The third one in particular
I was just going to say the third one,
from Rachel Walkinshaw was an absolute peach. She got player of the match as well. Scored one second half as well. So I
was really impressed with her. The left back actually for Livingston was really good as well. But probably credit to Edinburgh City's goalkeeper as well.
I was just going to say
kept
that,
the score down,
especially sort of going into the last 20 minutes. I thought she made some really good saves.
Yeah,
because it was just constant attacking.
Yeah,
we had all the ball. Edinburgh City, they'll be gone back absolutely knackered. They've done so much chasing.
Yeah,
because they barely had the ball. We had all the ball, all the play, passed it about nicely, played some nice stuff.
I have to say, I've been to all 3 games that they've played so far. First game was against Hamilton, who just missed out on getting promotion to PL1 last year, so pretty good side, and the girls had only had 2 training sessions, but they were 3 down after 20 minutes, but they grew into the game. But then the second friendly against BSC, they're going to be in the same division as them this year, so that was a good marker for where they'd probably be at. They obviously won that game 6-1, and you could tell that they'd had a few more sessions because there was more patterns to their play and stuff like that. And I'd expect them to do pretty well in this league.
It's no often that you get a hat-trick hero, no player of the match.
Yeah,
Sophie Gilchrist obviously bagging a hat-trick.
Yeah, signed from Hamilton Accies just there as well, so she's already got 3 today. She scored the other week against BSC as well, so
I was impressed with a lot of the play. We were bemoaning the lack of quality and cross balls for the men's team over the last 2 games. There was some cracking crosses put in the box today. I think the 11th goal came for a corner, planted right onto the head into the top corner.
Vicky Wood had a few assists. When I was talking to Rachel after the game, I think Vicky was upset she didn't get on the score sheet, but I think she set up about 4 of them.
Maybe that's why then.
But nah, it was a really good outing for the girls, and hopefully we can get more folk along to watch them for future games as well.
Considering the weather,
conditions, there
was about 100? 100 there, and remember the first ever game, the friendly, there was about 300 or so. So if we can get up to that number, that's a good effort.
For the women's games across Scotland, there's a lot of games where you probably won't hit 3 figures for folk watching the games, so the fact it shows you that there is a bit of an appetite for it. As I say, I think there might have been a few more faces along. Maybe there was a few more hungover Livi fans coming back from Inverness yesterday, and obviously the conditions played a part, but I thought hopefully folk will get behind the girls for the kind of forthcoming season,
and hopefully the conditions are better as well.
Well,
for the remainder of the season,
it will come to a point where it will be proper summer football as well, so that will be quite enjoyable. It will fill that void for the 6-week period.
You mentioned the last friendly, was it the 6-1 game?
Against
you
BSC.
mentioned that was against a team that we're going to be coming up against. Beat them, what was it?
6-1.
6-1. Won today 12-0, obviously against 10 players, but it's a good indication that we're going to do very well in the league, and we're going to be up there pushing for promotion, aren't we?
As you kind of touched on at the start, there's obviously a bit of intent to do that with some of the signings they've made. A couple of girls coming in from Hearts, another couple of coming from Spartans, Hamilton, all teams in the leagues or leagues above. So there's a bit of intent. I think Paul Giaconelli, his name manager, I think he's trying to play it down just a little bit, because they are pretty much a new team put together. So, but no, I think going off the 2 games that they've played, I think they'll be kind of there or thereabouts, certainly.
Just to add a wee bit as well, I thought we were really good going forward, especially it's difficult obviously playing against 10 players. You could take your foot off the gas, things like that, but I thought especially down the wing, you had the left fullback. I forgot to mention Nicole Norris earlier on. She's actually scored a cracker. I think it was the 7th goal.
Right.
But no, we were terrific going forward, especially down the left hand side. And the style of play was different class. There's often this talk about women's football standard not being very good, but I thought today we were terrific, and I wasn't expecting us to be as good as we were.
You mentioned obviously our goal. She also hit the post by Aspard as well. That the post ran along the line. That would probably been the goal of the match actually if that had went in, because we've got about 25. I don't know. It was a cracking.
Rachel Walkinshaw's goal.
It was a good goal, but
that was an absolute rocket.
Centre of the pitch. But this one was the edge of the sort of corner of the box, so she's curled it round.
Our actual goal. Debatable, maybe.
Was it a cross?
Maybe was it a cross?
It's definitely a cross.
Don't know if anyone wants to clear that up.
Definitely a cross. Maybe if you're listening, you can tweet us and tell us if it was a cross or a shot. Because I think she does listen, does she?
I'm sure a few of the girls follow the podcast.
And we had mentioned it when obviously we'd spoke about them introducing the women's team, and maybe potentially get 1 or 2 of them on.
Definitely.
I know quite a few of them are Livingston fans as well, so it's not as if we'd just be bringing them on to chat about their game. We'd talk about the whole club and maybe even get them involved in what does your Fox, and who knows, see what happens.
They might have a few more considering they play.
Exactly.
Short sleeves and gloves today.
Short sleeves. There was about 4 Livingston players. But get Get a grip. If you're listening, each and every one of you know who you are.
You know what? It was really cold. I understand why you would wear gloves.
Yeah, but it was really cold.
Fine
With the
girls,
war
didn't
short
listen to him. He
sleeves.
lost, by the way, just on that Does Your Fox and got absolutely battered. In
To
the
be
Combs
fair,
this week.
we did say that.
Couldn't
he
even
was
vote for
gonna
myself.
win. It was like
Yeah, no, he actually rigged it so we couldn't even vote for ourselves, and he still was miles behind.
Didn't rig it.
I imagine
Imagine there was a few games
There was
postponed
only
today.
4 games played, and yes, we will be sitting top on goal difference.
Brilliant.
Flying, absolutely flying.
Mind the gap.
Let's hope that we remain there for the remainder of the season. Remainder of the season, we're 1 game in,
Yep.
but it's true. Let's hope we stay there for the entire season and get promoted, because we've certainly got the players capable of doing that. Two games to look ahead to this week. First up, we welcome St Mirren to West Lothian, looking to continue our impressive home form. What we're thinking going into this one then?
I think it's going to be quite a tight game. St Mirren, I've said this before when we've played them this season, take out the kind of 3 each goal fest we had at their place last time we played, but they've been really solid at the back for the most part. They don't leak a lot of goals, but at the top end they obviously struggle to score a few. I know they've just brought in the boy Jakubiak.
I think now they're a wee bit of a goal threat.
Yeah. And Jakubiak played against us when he was at Falkirk, and I thought he was caused us a few problems there. He scored as well against Motherwell in the Cup, so he's obviously got off to a good start. So I think it's going to be quite a tricky game, to be honest. They're desperate for points as well.
I get what you're saying about them being tight, but actually stats away from home didn't really go hand in hand with that. So they've conceded 21 goals away from home in 12 games.
That's still no less than us though.
No, they've got the worst away record in the league. They've maybe less goals conceded, but they've only won 1 game.
So it backs up the fact that they're a bit tighter at the back.
Yeah, that's a lot of goals. That shows how poor we've been away from home.
Yeah,
conceding goals wise. But
last 4 games they've drawn.
Yeah,
actually,
that's right.
Which is a bit of
the last one was against Ibrox in the Cup.
It was, it was.
So yeah, they're tight and they're now hard to beat.
They're definitely not the worst team we've played this season. I think out of the teams down the bottom end,
they're more likely to get out of it for me,
for sure,
than the likes of Hamilton, who I think are doomed. Hearts, despite their mini revival, still look like they're going to concede goals.
Yeah.
St Mirren, on the other hand, I feel like, as you say, they've recruited not too badly in January. Brought in the lad for Ireland, the centre back.
Yeah,
they've
had a few injuries recently though. McGuinness and Flynn are going to miss the rest of the season.
Flynn's a massive loss for them, obviously McGuinness as well, but Flynn, I know that a lot of St Mirren fans were kind of reading sort of Twitter and that they were a bit devastated to lose him. Big player for them, so that could be a big loss for them. Line-up wise, we spoke about it.
Puffy.
We spoke about it in previous games. We made changes for Inverness. It didn't really work.
I'd bring in both full-backs. I'd bring back in Taylor Sinclair and McMillan. If they're both fit and available. Personally, I
Does Dolly get a start?
I was going to say,
having impressed in the previous 2.
I was going to say, obviously, depending injuries and stuff. The last home win against Motherwell. I think we play that team, and you maybe play Dolly ahead of Robinson, maybe. Just see if it's starting them makes a difference.
We always mention that Holt always says, they bring players in, if they impress, then they'll get to keep the shot. And we've all said that Dolly's came in and made a difference in the previous 2 games.
I don't know. Maybe it's just fitness wise. I don't know if he.
I don't
give him
think
60 minutes.
Don't think he's played a lot of football whilst he's been over in Angola. So I agree with you that I think that might be the only reason he doesn't start.
Yeah.
But in terms of what he's done in the last couple of games, I think he's probably been our most impressive player. So I wouldn't go against him getting into the starting 11.
McCrory back in the sticks as well.
McCrory will probably come back in. Yeah, obviously missing out with being cup tied for Inverness.
We'll come on to the Rangers preview as well. He'll probably miss that game as well.
That game, yeah. Big Gary Malley, eh? What does he have to do to get a game?
Unbelievable.
Absolutely shocking.
And I know firsthand he's an absolute cat between the sticks.
Still has nightmares about that.
I do still have nightmares about that, Gary. Cheers.
Then you've got, obviously, we mentioned St Mirren signing the lad Jakubiak. They've obviously got Obika as well, who's started to pick up a bit of form. I think he's got 7 goals now.
He's scored a couple against us in the last game.
He's got quite a few goals since Callum Brown called him shite at the last game.
Yeah.
I would use no such language.
Good call, Callum. He then
It was
went on and
Jobby or
scored.
something like that. I don't know. It was equivalent of that.
No, I was just saying.
It was the equivalent of excrement. Was
3-1 up. That Obika's shite, isn't he? 2 goals later, 3-3.
What I actually said was, "You're that pish. They've stopped singing that good song about you." And from that corner, he scored. So
Yeah, good
that
call.
went well.
Goals per game between the two sides were averaging 3.35 goals per match between Livi St Mirren games. So a lot of goals
Yeah.
in the game. So are we expecting a goal fest
No.
at home?
Going by how we've played the last couple of games, I know we're back to home comforts and stuff like that. But nah, I can't see it being a goal fest. I think they'll come to frustrate and whatnot.
It's difficult to predict now because it depends what sort of side turn up. If we play like we did against County and Inverness, then we've got no chance of picking up even a point, I'd say.
Yeah.
But it's just frustrating the fact we absolutely battered Motherwell, the week before as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're unbeaten at 7 at home.
Mm-hmm.
So the record at home is standing up. We've played the previous 2 away.
The stats in this fixture though don't go in favour of the home
No, they
side.
don't. I was gonna
they
say
don't.
that.
Typically,
They don't.
I think there's only like a couple of wins each from both St Mirren and Livi when it's on the home patch. So the form book kind of gets flipped up a little bit, and it tends to go with the away side, which is why I'm that's in the back of my mind.
We did win earlier in the season against them.
That one of the 2 wins we've had against them, 3 actually.
Yeah.
Had one last season as well. So I think it's going to be a really tough game because I think that, granted you're talking about the goals they've conceded away from home, I still think they came to our place early in the season and I was actually really impressed with them. I think we were quite lucky to come away with 3 points that day. Mm-hmm. And I think they have a bit about them, St Mirren. I think they're going to be quite dangerous.
Yeah, well, I actually, as much as I hated Jim Goodwin as a player,
I think he's a good manager.
I think he's got the ability to go quite far in management.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. Talks well as well.
Talks a good. People say that about Jack Ross, don't they? We know our opinions on Jack Ross.
Jack Ross is a dick.
Yeah.
Good manager.
You should get off that fence a bit, Ewan, and see how you feel more.
Lovely guy.
So predictions then. Going into this game,
I'll let the challengers go first.
let the challengers go first. Ewan,
Livingston 1, St Mirren 0.
1-0. Tight game then. I'm not sure. I think there could be goals in the game again.
Tends to happen in a game of football.
Not if it's 0-0, Callum.
True.
That was proven wrong very quickly.
I'm going to go 2-1 Livi.
Is that what you were going to go for?
I'm gonna-
Going by the drop of the head there, Callum?
Callum just about, headbutted the table there.
That is what I was going to
You
go
can
for.
say it. It's
You're allowed to go for the same
absolutely
score. It's not against the rules.
2-0 Livingston.
To be fair, we're getting hounded on Twitter for Inverness fans.
Yeah.
In fact, can we all stop? Actually, can we stop predicting Livingston to win? Because that's the last 2 we've all predicted wins and we've not won.
I'm really confident we'll win.
To be fair, I predicted a win against Motherwell. So.
I think it'll be 1-0.
Oh, did it? No, I predicted a draw. I can't even remember my predictions. I just chucked them out the window as soon as I do them.
1-0
By the way,
majority.
I don't even think it's going to be 1-0. I have no idea.
2-1. 2-1 for me.
1-0 majority of the game, and I think they'll be on the attack and we'll hit them on the counter. 2-0.
2-0, and you're going 1-0, Ewan.
Yep, 1-0 of it.
Let's keep our fingers crossed for some positiveness after a really tough week.
Finally this weekend we face a trip to Castle Grayskull to face the Rangers. Another tough game for us.
Wow.
How do we see this one going?
Well, firstly, the opinion is Ewan's. It doesn't solely purpose the podcast opinions. So any hate mail sent to @Ewan Rankin. Anyway, on to the game.
Happily take it.
I'm expecting a really tough game.
To be fair, Rangers haven't particularly been at it since the winter break.
Yeah, I mean they played pretty. Obviously scored 4 at Hamilton, but Hamilton are poor form just now.
But even then,
they seem to have been very sluggish.
Yeah.
Don't maybe have the same fluency in kind of the forward areas as they had before the break. But it was the same that happened last year. They got within touching distance of Celtic and then went off the boil for the first kind of month after the winter break. So
I definitely think Rangers prefer to be chasing.
Well, they've chased for what?
how long?
7 years since their existence.
No, but
8 years ago now.
It seems every time Celtic would win to like obviously extend the lead, Rangers would have the game in hand and then they'd win. I think as soon as Rangers went to the top,
It's a bit of panic, wasn't it? And let's be honest, it wasn't a great January for them.
No, it wasn't at all.
if they're on that boy, I'd really like the boy Hadji.
Yeah, apart from that, I mean, that does look like a decent signing, but apart from that, you know, they tried to get a few signings in, it didn't happen. They tried to get rid of a few players, it didn't happen. Barker, I think, was mentioned. Jones, they were trying to get rid of, neither left.
Just two of the 40 winners that they have.
So there's just a bit of an odd feeling around Ibrox now for me.
Castle Grayskull.
Just a bit of a strange feeling. Like, I know what you're saying about them chasing and things. They got themselves into a good position before the break. They were playing some great stuff, and it really pains me to say that. And obviously, as we know, I predicted Rangers to go on and win the league this season. But since the break, the Celtic have kicked on.
Celtic have looked a different animal after
Celtic
the
have
break.
kicked on, and Rangers have sort of digressed a little bit.
Yeah.
Although, having said that, I still expect it to be a tough afternoon. They've only dropped points in 2 of their 12 home games.
That's Celtic and Aberdeen
at
fairly
home
recently.
They've got a tough game away at Kelly midweek as well, Rangers.
And then all those injuries on that god awful plastic pitch. So,
I know.
Yeah.
So they'll be walking winded when they come to play us at Ibrox next week. Now I think it's going to be a tough game. We went there early in the season and I actually came away quite a bit disappointed that we
took the lead.
Yeah, we took the lead, and I think we created some brilliant chances, especially in the second half at 1-0 and 1 each. We had some good opportunities to kind of take the lead again or go further in front, so it was actually quite a frustrating afternoon. But I think other than the 2-0 game, the other 2 games with Rangers this season, the cup tie, I think we gave them a right good go in that as well, and I think we were unlucky. But I think with it being at Ibrox and our record away from home, I can't see us taking anything from the game.
The type of game we'll do well in though.
Yeah.
You know, we're going into the game not expecting to get anything. Tough afternoon, we'll look to go there and defend.
Do you look at what Aberdeen did
exactly
the other week and try and replicate that almost, and just try and frustrate? I know the first game of the season we sat in quite a bit in the first half in particular, and we're just trying to frustrate. We kind of offered them the wide areas rather than try to play through the middle of us, and we basically took the approach of, right, we'll let you cross balls into the box because the chances are we can deal with that. But I think Aberdeen were quite similar what they did, so I could see that game plan.
Do we change formation then? Do we come away for the 4-2-3-1 and go?
The last game we played pretty much a flat 5 rather than kind of 2 sitting, and I think the reason for that was so we could be a bit more compact. Do
you think
and have just kind of 2 flat lines almost?
Maybe 5 with a diamond and then.
Do you think that was maybe one of the reasons that Lammy came in against Inverness then, to give him some game time ahead of this? There's a potential if you were playing a 5, you'd have they 3 and you'd also bring McMillan.
Well, you say when I said a flat 5, I meant across the midfield. We still played a 4 at the back.
Okay.
So no, is my answer to that.
Fair enough.
I think that's part of the reason we did it. It's to maybe try and stop them getting in between the lines a bit. Can play a bit flatter that way when you're playing with kind of flat 5. So
I mean, Rangers have got an abundance of
options,
striking options. They've got Defoe, Morelos. They've then brought in the Hibs legend Canberry.
He'll not be back there, will he?
I think he's basically cut ties with Hibs, and he's.
I think so.
They had a big banner at Ibrox, I'm sure, calling him a rat.
Oh,
I believe.
lovely. But having said, with all their options, they've only scored 9 in the last 7 at home, which isn't brilliant.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that. You saw earlier in the season they put 5 past Hearts at home, 5 past Aberdeen,
6 past Hibs.
Yeah. But now they've only beaten Hibs 2-1, took a last minute goal. Ross County was 2-0. We put 4 past them at home. St Mirren game was 1-0.
They've got into a wee rut where they're grinding results out.
It's not a bad thing.
Rather than at the start of the season where they were kind of steamrolling over teams a bit.
Is it other teams now being,
more aware?
Yeah, smarter.
I mean, it could be. We mentioned obviously earlier teams adapting to our style. Maybe teams are starting to adapt to how Rangers play as well. I'm not saying they didn't before, but maybe they've seen that first half of the season and thought, actually, we can't go there and get in their faces. We've got to sit back and let that team have the ball, maybe hit them on the break. And in Lyndon Dykes, we've got a player who can cause them problems on the break.
Definitely.
Well, we know he can cause them problems. He gave Goldson and Highland in both games. He gave them an absolute torrid time.
It's one of these ones. Do you sacrifice obviously you don't want to sacrifice good defenders, but maybe on the break, Dolly Menga's pace on the break would be frightening at Ibrox. But it's also one of these where, again with Suda, we mentioned in the season, if you're not tracking back, it's a bit of a waste of a jersey if we're going to be on the back foot the whole game.
Yeah, I think
so. It's a difficult one.
In games like this, you need folk that are always switched on, don't you? Or majority of the time are switched on. I think Dolly doesn't maybe give you that. I think, as you say, it gives you that bit of unpredictability about him. But I think, especially a game at Ibrox, we need to be quite switched on, because in the wide areas they look pretty good. Obviously the full-backs, Barisic and Tavernier, we know they're very good going forward. Kent's looked like he's settled back in. He's producing a bit of form as well. So, I think it is going to be a really tough game. And as I said earlier, I can't see us getting a result. Even though Rangers have been in a little bit of a rut as of late with their performances.
Yeah. Happily be proven wrong, but
delighted if we prove them wrong.
So I know you don't always like giving predictions, especially when we've got a game before this one, but this is the only podcast we've got before it. So what are you thinking going into it, Callum?
We've got a chance. So if we play as well as we did the last time we went to Ibrox, I thought we were a bit unlucky, but I'd say 2-0 Rangers. I think it'll be tight up until an extent, but 2-0 Rangers.
Yeah, I'm kind of along the same lines. I think we'll give a decent account of ourselves. I think we'll stay in the game for long periods, but I think they'll probably pick us off as the game goes on, and the longer it goes, it's very difficult to defend for 90 minutes and stay concentrated for that length.
The longer it goes on, the more their fans get on their back.
Absolutely.
That makes a huge difference.
As I say, the last game at Ibrox, you saw that when we went to go up and then we hit the post and whatnot, the fans were turning on them. And it was a good job that they actually equalised as quickly as they did, because I think we would have started to frustrate them more.
I think it's going to be a tough afternoon. I'm going to go 3-0 Rangers.
I'm going to repeat as the last game at Ibrox, 3-1 Rangers.
Going to score.
So we've all predicted defeats, which means get your money on a Livingston historic first win
at
Ibrox against Rangers.
Can't wait.
We've obviously had 2 draws there.
Yeah,
is that
0-0 and 1-1.
2 draws, the rest have been defeats. So first ever win at Ibrox would be lovely in this one.
That's it for another episode of TalkLivi. Lots of reviews and previews this week, with the 2 games last week and obviously the 2 upcoming. So there's no room for what does your fox in this week, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll have that back next week.
We'll win again.
Thanks again to everybody that continues to listen to the podcast and get involved and interacts with us on social media.
You can find TalkLivi on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter by just searching for TalkLivi. Hit like and follow to keep up to date with everything we're doing. You can also find this episode and all of our other episodes on all good podcast streaming sites, including iTunes, Spotify, Castbox, plus many more.
All our episodes are also on our website, talklivipodcast.libsyn.com. Don't forget, we're also on YouTube. You can find us by searching TalkLivi. If you could hit the subscribe button, we'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave a comment as well, or a review on iTunes. As always, it's greatly appreciated.
So that's it for another week. From myself, Ewan and Andy, thanks again for listening. Hope you have a good week, and let's hope for a successful week for the club as well.